This house was built in 1905. I have a building permit that says this house was built for $5,000, a considerable difference from how much it would cost to build today. When I purchased the house, it was a bed and breakfast, and before that it was a care facility for elderly people. And each of the rooms were subdivided into separate bedrooms. And then I opened it up and put in a lot of structural beams and braced the place to be able to have these wide open spaces. One of the biggest challenges of the house was to take what it was, respect that, and also fuse it with my natural design inclination, which is to be more modern. So that was where the big challenge came in, was to fuse both of them together. I knew the kitchen had to be modern, and I knew that I wanted it to be uncluttered. This particular kitchen is by Val Cucine. It's a Logica kitchen. As soon as I saw it, I knew that it was special. It was looking at storage a different way that I had never seen before as a designer. This is actually a glass and aluminum kitchen, so with folding away and being able to close all of the interior spaces, I just knew that this was a really special kitchen. The island is actually made from American chestnut that was reclaimed from wood joists salvaged from an industrial building down by Cherry Beach. It has a lot of pitted grain marks. You could see some nail marks in it, so I definitely wanted to contrast the sleek materials with a kind of rustic texture to it. I have a very active lifestyle, but I find that this kitchen actually lends really well to that, because I can put things away and close the doors and it sort of fades away, and I can exist in the kitchen without it being a kitchen in a way. The shape of the island is cantilevered to maximize sort of light and view through that window. In the winter, a lot of times I'll sit and this will just be like this beautiful blowing snow, especially at night over the rooftops. Is actually a really beautiful place to sit. The chimneys were completely rebuilt, and I had an opportunity to open up the chimney as wide as I could. So when my mason said, "How wide would you want the opening?" I said, "How wide can you make it?" I definitely wanted to connect these two fireplaces. Decided to recreate it so it kind of connects this sort of a larger fireplace in the living room and a smaller one in the dining room, but I feel that they play well together. And even though the mantles aren't exact replicas, they definitely tie in together. The division between the living room and the office was a bit of a challenge, and this was actually a really challenging piece of millwork, so I sought out a very talented millworker. I knew that not any millworker could handle this. Hidden in here, there was really not that much room for a TV, so it kind of dictated the size of the TV, which is relatively small. But I didn't want the TV to be a focal point of the living room. I like to have everything hidden away. I do have my own side practice doing design and architecture, so I use this office to do my work there. I really like how it turned out with the dark paint, because I find it a very focused place to work. And the dark paint does absorb a lot of light, but I think that's great for working on computer screens, and it just focuses me. And the millwork that I designed in that space, I find very conducive to work. And there's lots of storage. I can have a place for everything. The powder room represented to me a huge challenge, because it was one space that was not really tied to the other spaces, which had a very traditional flair. But I really wanted to use a reclaimed material. I wanted to use something that was unique and individual. It's an encaustic tile that's 5/8 of an inch thick, and it's impregnated all the way through. So it's a really well-constructed, very solid tile that does not destruct, and even 100 years later is still in amazing shape. I have a certificate of authenticity from this tile for 1905, which is the year the house was made. So it's just kind of seemed perfect, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Designers are their own worst critics. It could always be better, but in the end, it's a space that flows well together. I have people come over and they love it, and it's always going to be something in my portfolio that I'll be proud of.